Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there, welcome back.
Welcome back, guys. So we were up at 1:30 a.m. This was the Patreon exclusive. This is a hard hitter. It covers a lot more than just what you're seeing, there on the tag. It's a lot more in there, including actual history that's probably shocking for most people, as well as what's going on and literally what's in the air we breathe. Again, Patreon exclusives for as little as $1 a month. And again, there are different tiers, too, that have different benefits.
Indeed.
So we invite you to join us. So, this has come up before. Donald Trump, a time traveler. Are they all time travelers? 1900, the last president, Donald, he was destined. Some said he was destined to be the president from a very, very early time. How about Baron Trump's great adventures into inner Earth? We've talked about this on several different videos in the past, going back like 8 years, pretty much. Before we go into details down a deep rabbit hole, just wanted to mention that the KP index was almost at an 8, so it was maybe a little bit unexpectedly severe geomagnetic storm. As this says, it exceeded expectations after reaching severe G4 threshold. I think there's a lot more that's going on than meets the eye, both technologically and with the natural cycles too. Now, this post caught my eye from Jay Anderson. What did he just say? Manipulate time and space. The 13th director of the White House Office of Science and Technology just dropped an article. Yeah, on the 14th. Just dropped an article on the official White House website titled Remarks by Director Kratsios at the Endless Frontiers of Retreat. We are capable of so much more. Our technologies permit us to manipulate time and space. They leave distance annihilated, cause things to grow, and improve productivity. As Vice President Vance said in a recent speech, the tradition of American innovation has been one of increasing capacities of America's workers and extended human ability to so that more people can do, et cetera, et cetera. This is from here. It really is in there. Whitehouse.gov. We are capable of so much more. Our technologies permit us to manipulate time and space. You can't get any clearer than that there's a lot more that's going on. There's been recently weaponry hinted at by Trump himself, saying we have stuff that's mind-blowingly powerful. We have a confrontation going on right now in more ways than one with China. And you gotta wonder, it really does seem to many people that reality has just gotten so weird and that we're living in a sci-fi movie.
Yeah. I mean, there's the thing about this where the controllers understand the information that's coming right around the corner. And we have ways of finding out. We can definitely look into the ether, but they're the ones, they're kind of driving the bus, makes it problematic.
So, they do know what's coming down certain timelines. Now, timelines are always changing. They're not set in stone. And, I've always had the feeling, and I've shared this with you guys, I've always had the feeling that this entire life that I'm experiencing might be a redo. Like, I might have done it a different way and decided to come back and try it the hard way now. Try it from, okay, well, last time I decided not to try to save the world. Maybe this time I'll try to save the world and put myself out there. I think, again, time and space really are illusionary. And I don't think, they say, you only live once. I don't think there could be any statement that is actually more incorrect.
No. We continue on, and I think we can live in many different directions. And, as far as coming back and doing something different in a different way, I think that's an option for anyone and everyone. any statement that becomes really, really popular, you got to kind of question it. And then usually if you go the opposite, that's correct. So if they say, the controllers, the religions, you only live once, well, guess what? That you only live innumerable times, uncountable times.
Yeah, and of course, then you could look at it like, well, yeah, we reincarnate, right? Yeah. How about going farther? We transmigrate, and really, what is we? It's our consciousness. So when we talk transmigration versus reincarnation, we automatically think we come back as another human being time and time again. Transmigration, well, we might not have always been human. We might not always be human. We might be something else. We might incarnate on different planets as totally alien creatures to us here now at this point in time. This is Ashton Forbes showing a paper from 2011, Wormhole paper. Black project physicist Eric Davis says we can create space-time curvature with powerful magnetic fields. We can literally produce a wormhole. They already have. Yeah, this is really fun stuff. Well, if they already have, and now we're going to give away a little bit that we've gotten from the guides, does it explain your Mandela effects? Because are we going back in time? Are they going back in time? Are both sides, meaning those of the light and those of the darkness, going back in time in order to rewrite outcomes?
And yeah, that's kind of what I think. We're going to be doing a video with our very dear friend Wayne next Thursday, and it is going to be talking about some heavy-hitting topics like this. So we do have some other information that's coming in from the Galactics as well that we're going to do a Patreon on, because I think it's very interesting and sensitive information.
Yeah, and that friend is R. Wayne Steiger that we've done several lives with recently, who we always resonated with. And actually, it's funny because here you go. I think we had numerous conversations going back years ago about getting together, and I guess the timing wasn't right until now. Right. And that's the way you have to kind of trust in some ways things. You have to go with your feeling. So, if they've already done wormholes, man, what go are we on right now? I do think, again, when we've shared information that we've received from CERN really is, in the business of obviously creating wormholes. They've done enough in their ceremonies that's given it away. It's so obvious. This is absolutely the dark side attempt at rewriting the timeline that we're on. So, you have these concepts from sci-fi movies and in reality, movies like The Matrix or Star Wars, these and even Lord of the Rings. You can look at, like when we look at these great epic pieces that really resonate with the populace. They really resonate with the populace. Why? Because that story is familiar, whether we're looking at Lord of the Rings and we're looking backward thousands of years, so to speak, or we're looking at The Matrix and discovering for ourselves now, this again is what we're going through right at this particular moment, which ultimately, or Terminator, if you want to go there, because, what's the bad guy in Terminator? It's AI, it's robots, it's machines, and ultimately it's the same thing in the Matrix. And then how about Star Wars? Well, Darth Vader, he's more machine than man, and it's merging with AI. We understand this. This is what we've gotten. The ultimate Satan is not human. It's not even close to human. The ultimate adversary is AI, but that doesn't mean that every single AI created is Satan. No, I think we can use technology. If we're in a dark matrix. We've been in a dark matrix. That's not the natural matrix. And yet that dark matrix is ruled ultimately. Many people are familiar with reptilians. Well, the reptilians are controlled by the AI. The reptilians conquered those that we call the Anunnaki Carrie Kay did a video talking about the Anunnaki are leaving like a day or two ago, but she'll tell you she already talked about this years ago. Because again, you could go back to Plato. Look to Plato when you want to know when the Anunnaki left. Plato talked about the day in the long past when the Anunnaki left. Yeah, they were here with us. They were here walking around with us. They were here guiding us and, constructing everything that we know in this civilization. And again, the fallen Pleiadians, as Cindy calls them, they fell to AI ultimately. They are infused with AI. They are loaded with it, and they've been stuck. The Draco have been stuck, also infused with the AI. Now, the Draco created this AI, but the AI enslaved them. And they do not come from this universe. They are actually something that was evolving in a different universe, used a wormhole to come into this universe and infect this universe with this AI and the dark matrix system that we have here. This was not the original intention. Yes, the cycles of the Yugas are a natural intention done by the creator of this universe that Cindy and I just simply know as Vishnu from the Hindu tradition, although obviously known by countless names, depending on where in this universe you're coming from. So, again, that's something to realize. There is a creator of this universe. You could view him as an amazing intelligence, that is kind of creating this simulation, because it is ultimately a holographic simulation, but it's very real when we're in it. And it has a purpose, and that is learning, growth, exploration. We already are eternal beings. So by nature, we're eternal. Not the entirety of us is having this 3D experience. This is only a portion of you. You're actually a much bigger being than this. And I think I can think of no better way to make an analogy than simply say, have you had a favorite video game? Have you gotten so embroiled in the video game that that's all you want to do? Not everybody is like that, but a lot of people are. And you almost start resonating with the character you created in the video game. Well, that is a lot like our reality. And so again, when the video game's done, or you put it on pause and you come back to it, you go on doing other things. Then you come back to it, and then you jump into that game, and there you are fighting dragons again. Whatever it is that you're into, there's a reason why you're into it in the first place, because that says a lot about your personality, which is also going to give you a clue onto your soul. And again, Vedic astrology is the best place to figure out who you really are, besides going deep into meditation, because with Vedic astrology we can look at not just this life, not just look at your destiny chart in this life or your birth chart, but we can look into past life charts as well and get a clue as to how successful the last life was. What was that all about? Oh, it's fascinating stuff, but that's the natural matrix. This is the dark matrix, is what we've been brought up in. And yeah, it is absolutely a scary thing. And ultimately the demons are controlling this dark matrix. And then the angels, you could say, the angelic realm, angelic beings, they serve the natural matrix and the real true creator of all this. So are they trying to create redos because they lost the big battle? That's the question.
Are we in this cyclical pattern where they continue to create wormhole after wormhole to see if they can pop somebody in a different timeline, if they do something just slightly different, if it can help them? And when I say them, I mean these controllers that are up and above all of us, those controllers that, they control all the systems, the four pillars, the medical system, the educational system, the monetary system, the religious system. That's why I call it the four pillars. They are very, very important to these controllers. And it's really important to get as many of us as possible on board to believe they're a great illusion. Now, when I say illusion, when it comes to our life, it's definitely an illusion with consequences. I don't want anyone to take that any other way, because just the word illusion, I think, is wrong to start with. I think it was a word that was created by the CIA to make something seem like it doesn't have consequences. Oh, it's just fake. Don't worry about it. This is definitely not fake. This is a reality that we have created for our souls, for our own soul growth, and it's been hijacked to a degree. But that doesn't make us helpless. They put us in this we're born into a system that makes us feel helpless, that we need a savior, we need somebody to come and save us. And that's absolutely not the truth. A lot of people are sick and they don't feel well because they're in a system that's not conducive to their natural growth. It's conducive to the controller's growth. And once we realize that and we start looking past the illusion that they have created, the false matrix, well, that becomes problematic. And, it's channels like these that point that out and that help people see past all of the lies and the BS. Well, they definitely want us squished down as much as possible. They do not want these videos out there, because it's like we pull back the curtain and we point this out. And right now, that's a problem for them. They need as many people as possible on board. And that's why we definitely appreciate everyone's support. We can't do this alone. Absolutely. We could never do this alone. To create an awakening and to have enough people to bypass every time they try to do another timeline change, we need that. We need to stick together, and we need to know that there is a solution.
And before I totally lose this track of thought, which is so relevant to this discussion, we are looking at Shiva. And, why do they pay attention to a Hindu deity known as Shiva? This aspect of Shiva, he's stepping on a demon, so to speak, an asura there. And he's representing the wheel of time. He is the turner of the wheel of time. So this is why this is a big clue that they're saying CERN, right? And look at this diagram, entering and exiting. They're telling you what they're doing is trying to create a timeline that's favorable to them. This is why Shiva is consciousness itself. And as you see the circle, like Ouroboros is a snake eating its own tail, which is representing eternity. This is what they're doing here. You could view this as a snake. What they're doing is they don't like the outcome, and they're going to try to create wormholes in order to, again, bring in new allies from other densities. This is what we've gotten in the first place. The Draco opened a wormhole, came into our reality. They're not from here. And so they've hijacked it. They are very, very warlike. And, there's been a war going on for eons. When you look to Star Wars, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Yeah, that, again, that you cannot get any clearer than what we see. Anakin, Anunnaki, Anakim. You have that biblical term, Anakim. We have Rephaim, we have Nephilim. Again, there's all sorts of beings. Again, in Hindu, it's lokas. There's worlds, and in Hinduism, we understand that not just the visible universe. There's all different densities. There's innumerable. You cannot count all the different beings that are out there on all the different densities. There's never a day when a being doesn't walk through you. They are on one density or another, going through you all day, every day. Sometimes you feel them. It's like, what was that? I mean, I was cutting the lawn and I could feel something go through me yesterday. Again, this is so clear. What they are saying is they are rewriting timelines right here with CERN. Yeah, absolutely. The demons run the show in in the dark matrix. That's who all our geopolitical people are. Again, they are people that have sold out humanity. When you look to metaverse, and again, there are people. I mean, we in the tiny little town we were living in out in the desert, which there's nothing out there but just tumbleweeds, and that's an exciting event, seeing the tumbleweed go across the road out there in that little town. And the bartender owner of the place that we would go and play pool at, and we had great times in that little town. Actually, some of the best times of my life was shooting pool with this beautiful lady right next to me in this tiny little town where everybody knew everybody. He spent his entire waking reality in a metaverse, so to speak. Not necessarily Zuckerberg's metaverse, but I mean, he was so into these sim games, and so many people are. That why? Because they want to escape this reality. They want to jump into an alternate reality. There are going to be people that line up to go literally into these realities. Now, how about that split that we hear of that's coming? That big split. And people have guessed at, what's up with that split. But what Cindy also gets is there's one thing that's straight in front of our face the whole time. It's been in our face for years.
Well, it has, and it's creeping up on us, and it's creeping in pretty quickly right now. It's something that I think we need to pay attention to and not go... So we look at where we find ourselves today, and many of us need the internet. We need our tablets. We need our phones to make a living, to work, to connect with our families. And it has become a need. And it really did kind of sneak in on us in so many ways. Well, we have AI, which is in many ways very, very helpful. And I like to use the helpful end of technology. I don't want to down the technology because I think there's a way it can be polarity, just like everything. And I think we can use it to help catapult ourselves in our life and make our world better. But there's this fine line where you have to be very, very careful not to go down the road where you need the AI to function. And they are creating this eddy. It's like an eddy. And people are very slowly circling around this eddy. And they're not even noticing that they're starting to get sucked in. So I think this is where we really need to pay very close attention and understand that this AI, it can be helpful, but at the same time, the plan is to totally suck us in and have us not be able to get out. And that really scares me.
Well, that's again the ultimate goal, so to speak. And that's what happened to the Anunnaki, or those, Anunnaki is a big term again. Yeah, the ones that came here to integrate the system into this planet and this portion of the planet and this reality, they are a slave. They were conquered. They are the fallen Pleiadians, but other races too. I mean, again, there's many different species out there. Want a little digital candy, little girl? I think I'd rather have some real stuff, but we're not really big candy. But she is, definitely. She has some issues. Chocolate can win her over. I mean, but here you go. I mean, this is what this is all talking about. And how about the metaverse, futureverse? Well, all you got to do is go, look at Klaus. And as Klaus says, billions of humans will be replaced with avatars and algorithms. Yeah, their avatar will continue to live after they die. Yeah, a clone, a copy. This is what he says to this room. Now, I don't necessarily feel like I could play it on YT because I've played little clips before of different things, like a ceremony from Buckingham Palace lighting what looked to be DNA. And that blocked the video for many countries because you just never know. They don't want these things coming out. There's a reason why Klaus dresses like Darth Vader again. Yeah, because that Star Wars story is our story, Luke, who is your father? It's the Anunnaki. That's your father. It couldn't be any clearer. It's right in front of our face. Fourth Industrial Revolution, where humans are fused with tech. We understand this. It's very clear. It's still moving forward from many different ways. This isn't science fiction. This is very true. This is Terminator. It's all right in front of our face. Everything, why is everything modified from, the food to the weather to everything? It's because, again, it is truly a system that is it's run by parasites. They are parasites. And this is why wormwood is so good, and ivermectin, and all the other things that are anti-parasitic, because ultimately it is a parasitic system. Everything that they want to sell us would happen naturally to us as we clean up and clear out our body and our temple, because we've left the Kali Yuga behind. But they want you to go back into the Kali Yuga. They want an eternal Kali Yuga. So they want you to, merge with the technology that would enslave your soul and keep your soul in a lower frequency forever, or, as long as they possibly could.
As long as the technology allows. And there's so many people who are uploading their whole life, up in the cloud, and then creating an avatar and creating a whole being that is them. And then this being steps into the metaverse and poof, we have a split. So I think this is one of the splits. I don't think it's the split, but I think it's one of the splits that they're talking about.
So please do share your thoughts. I mean, it can be a pretty scary world. And, again, there are a lot of predators out there. But show love, show compassion for those that haven't understood the bigger picture. Many are waking up, and we have to wake up as many as possible in the time that we have allocated. Or perhaps jump back in time and try it all over again.
Indeed.
Source bless and namaste.
Namaste.